In this video, you'll learn how to get started with Google Analytics 4. You'll cover important interface features, take a look at the main reports, and you'll walk through the steps to create your own account and property. By the end of this video, you'll have Google Analytics set up and ready to start collecting data from your website. Once you're up and running, you'll be able to see how people find and use your website. This lets you understand what's working with your content and marketing and where there's room to improve. Okay, let's start by taking a quick look at some of the reports you'll be using in Google Analytics. We're looking at Google's demo for Google Analytics. This allows you to explore the different reports and features available in Google Analytics. Whether you're getting started or don't have access to a particular report, this is a great way to get familiar with the reports. I've included a link to access the demo in the description if you'd like to follow along. Okay, at the top of the interface, we can select the drop-down to view all of the Google Analytics accounts and properties we have access to. You might only have access to your website's Google Analytics account, or if you manage multiple websites, you might see lots of different accounts listed. Google Analytics uses a folder structure to store reports for the different websites you manage. These folders are called accounts. Typically, you should have a separate account for each separate business or each separate website you're looking after. You can see I have access to an account for my blog, a demo account I've created, an account for my website, along with more demo accounts. When you select an account, you'll see one or more properties. If I select the Loves Data demo account, we can see there is one property. A property is a set of reports, and in most cases, you'll track one website into a property. But if your website spans multiple domains, you can track all of these domains into a single property. The other thing I want to show you before we take a brief look at the reports is the date range selector. This lets you adjust how much data is included in a report. When you open your reports, you'll be looking at the last 28 days worth of data by default. You can select the current date range to change it. You can then select from one of the predefined ranges, like the last 7 days, the last 90 days, or the last 12 months. Or you can click a start date and an end date to choose a custom date range. When you're happy, click Apply. And the report updates. Now let's take a look at some of the reports. We can use the main menu on the left to navigate between the different types of reports in Google Analytics. First is Home. This provides a top-level summary for your website. We can see the overall number of active users or people who have been to the website, along with additional metrics, including key events, which are used to report the number of conversions or important actions people take on our website. We can see the total number of sessions. This is the total number of times people have visited our website. And for Google's demo, we can also see the number of purchases or transactions that have occurred on the website. You might see different metrics shown in your home report, and you also have the option of adjusting these if you'd like to see something different. Since we have active users selected, we can see the trend for this metric. It lets us see if there are any unexpected spikes or dips in traffic. You'll also notice there is a dotted line on the chart. This shows us the trend for the prior date range. This lets you quickly see if your traffic is steady in comparison or if it's going up or down. To the right, we can see the number of active users who've been on the website in the last 30 minutes. And scrolling down, we can see some other top-level details, including how people are finding the website and where they're located. The home report is automatically personalized, so it will show you reports you've recently viewed along with other automated insights. Now let's navigate to Reports. Reports let you view the standard reports. This includes dedicated reports showing you how people find your website, what pages they've viewed, if they've converted, plus demographics and details about the devices they're using. For example, let's select Engagement and choose Pages and Screens. This report shows you the pages people have viewed on your website. This tells you which content is the most popular. And it also includes engagement metrics, which can help you understand if content is connecting with your audience. For example, the average engagement time column tells you the average amount of time people spend on each of your pages. Now let's navigate to Explore. Explore lets you create custom reports and you can visualize data in different ways. For example, you can create simple tables, funnel visualizations, and more. Across the top are some templates you can use to get started. For example, we can create a free-form report to create a table to show data, like we saw when we looked at the Pages report. We can also create funnels, paths, and a range of other reports. Now let's navigate to Advertising. Advertising lets you view the dedicated attribution reports. This is where you can see the relationship between your different marketing channels and how they lead to conversions on your website. You'll use these reports to understand which channels drive the most conversions, so you can compare campaigns like your Google Ads campaigns to any other campaigns you're running. Now that you have an idea of the types of reports you'll be able to use and some important interface features, it's time to walk through the steps to set up Google Analytics. We're going to cover what you'll need to do if you're starting for the first time and the steps if you're already using Google Analytics. Let's head to google.com/analytics. This is the Google Marketing Platform site. And this is where you can sign up for Google Analytics. On the top right corner, we can see there are two options. If you already have a Google Analytics account, you can sign in. So you can click this option to access your existing Google Analytics account. Or if you're just getting started for the first time, then you can click Get Started Today to create your account. Since I already have a Google Analytics account, I'm going to select Sign in to Analytics. Now we need to log in using our Google account. This can be your Gmail address, your Google Workspace address, or the login details you use to access other Google products. Since I already have an account, we can see we're looking at the reports. If you are getting started for the first time, then you won't see these reports. You will immediately be prompted to create a new Google Analytics account. To see this, let's navigate to Admin on the bottom left corner. Then we click Create at the top and select Account. This is what you'll see if you selected Get Started Today and you're creating your first Google Analytics account. To begin, we need to name our new account. Again, the best way to think about your Google Analytics account is that it's like a folder. It's going to keep things neat and tidy inside Google Analytics. So typically, you will want to name your account after your business or organization. So I'm going to name my account Loves Data, but you can name your account anything you like. And if you're then asked to set up Google Analytics for another business, you can create another account whenever you need. So each business will have its own account or folder. Below the account name, we then have the data sharing options. These let you control how your data is shared. I recommend taking a moment to review these options. And you can change these selections after you've created your account. When you're happy, it's time to click Next. Now that we've named our account, which is our top-level folder, the next step is to create a property. As we covered, a property is typically used to report on an individual website. But you can collect data from multiple websites and apps into a single property, so that everything is combined in one set of reports. I recommend naming the property so that it reflects the website, app, or combination of websites and apps you will be measuring. Since I'm just planning on measuring my website, I'm going to give the property the same name as my account. I'm going to name it Loves Data. And you can always change this if you need to. Next, we need to select the time zone we want to use for our reports. I suggest taking a little bit of extra care at this stage, because if you decide to change the reporting time zone in the future, then you will either see a gap or overlap in data. I'm based in Sydney, so I'm going to select Australia, and then Sydney for my reporting time zone. Then we need to select the currency we want to use for our reports. I'm going to leave the currency set to US dollars for my property, but I suggest selecting the primary currency you use for your business or organization. I also want to highlight that the currency you select can be used for automatic currency conversion in your reports. For example, if I send a value in Australian dollars to Google Analytics and I have US dollars selected, then the Australian dollar amounts will be automatically converted to US dollars. When you're happy, click Next. Now we need to tell Google about our business or organization. We need to select an industry category and the size of our business. And let's click Next. We're now asked to choose our business objectives. The selections we make here control which pre-configured reports will be added to our property. You can choose one or more of the first 4 options, but let's select Other Business Objectives. I recommend selecting this option because this gives you a full set of reports and includes almost everything that's available in the other options. Now let's click Create. We need to agree to the terms of service for our particular country. I'm going to select Australia. And accept the terms. We have now created our brand new Google Analytics account and property. And we can see the next step is to start collecting data. We need to create a data stream. A data stream is used to collect data into your property and reports. You can create one or more data streams. If you're going to be measuring a single website, then you will just have one. But if you want to measure a website, an Android app, and an iOS app, you'll have 3 data streams, one for each platform. Just remember, a data stream is used to send data through to Google Analytics, which will then be processed into your reports. We can choose the type of stream we want to create. Since I'm going to be tracking my website, I'm going to select Web. Now we can enter the URL of our website and name the stream. For my stream, I'm going to enter www.lovesdata-test-2.com as the URL. And I'm going to name the stream Loves Data Website. Next, we can adjust the enhanced measurement settings. Enhanced measurement lets you automatically track a range of important actions on your website without modifying your implementation. It will automatically track page views, plus people scrolling pages on your website, clicks on outbound links, your website search function, forms, people watching embedded YouTube videos, and people downloading files. Enhanced measurement is enabled by default, but you can turn it off. and you can click the configuration icon to then disable or enable the actions it will automatically track. For example, if you don't want to report on people scrolling your pages, then you can disable this option. And then click Save. Then when you're happy, click Create and Continue. Our data stream has now been created. After waiting a moment, we can see setup suggestions pop up. Google Analytics will look for any existing Google tags installed on your website. If there is an existing tag, it will ask if you want to use that tag to collect data into your new property. If there isn't an existing Google tag, Google Analytics will try to automatically identify the platform used for your website. You can use the instructions provided to install Google Analytics on your website. For my website, we can see it suggesting to install the tag manually, but you can select Show More Options to view additional options. This includes the option to install the tag with your website platform, and the option to connect to an existing Google tag. Let's close this. We can see the details for our data stream pop up. Apart from using the setup suggestions we saw previously, you can also copy the measurement ID on the top right corner. Let's copy this. When we add this to our website using either the Google Tag or Google Tag Manager, the measurement ID ensures that data flows into our property and our reports. In most cases, I recommend using Google Tag Manager instead of the Google Tag because it provides added flexibility. You can manage multiple tags, not just Google Analytics, and you can also configure Google Tag Manager to track other actions and elements on your website. We're going to walk through the steps to get started with Google Tag Manager. If you already have the Google Tag installed on your website and you would like to migrate to Google Tag Manager, I recommend watching my dedicated tutorial series. I've included a link to this in the description. Okay, let's head to Google Tag Manager. The URL is tagmanager.google.com. We can see I already have a number of accounts and containers set up. So I'm going to click Create Account on the top right corner. You will see similar steps if you're getting started for the first time. You need to name your account. Select your country. And choose if you want to share anonymous data with Google. Then we need to name our container. You can name your container anything you like, but I suggest something that makes it easy to identify the website you're going to install it on. And since we're going to be measuring a website, let's select Web, and then click Create. We need to agree to the terms of service. Our new account and container has been created, and we're given two pieces of code. The first one is the most important. This is the JavaScript container code, and you will need to add this to all of the pages on your website. When we add Google Tag Manager to our website, we're adding this container code. This code should be placed inside the head tag on your website, and ideally should be one of the first things in your head tag. The second piece of code is the no-script version of the container. This will load if someone has JavaScript disabled. Since almost all of the tags we use in Google Tag Manager are JavaScript, this won't improve the accuracy of the data we collect. So if you can't add this extra no-script code to your website, it won't have a major impact. Let's close this. And let's copy the container ID. This is at the top and starts with GTM and then a dash. Now it's time to add the code to our website. There are different ways you can add the container code depending on how you've created your website. For example, if you're using WordPress, then you can use a plugin to add the container to all of your pages. Let's head to WordPress to take a look. This is the GTM for WordPress plugin. It's just one of the plugins you can use to add the container code to all of the pages on your WordPress site. To add Google Tag Manager, let's install the plugin. And let's activate the plugin. Let's select Settings. Now we need to paste our container ID. There are additional settings you can adjust in the GTM for WordPress plugin, but we're going to leave these, and let's click Save Changes. Sometimes the container code option switches to off when changes are saved, so just make sure it's set to on, otherwise the container code won't be added to your live website. We can see the option is set to off, so let's change this to on. And let's save our changes again. Our Google Tag Manager container has been added to all of the pages of our WordPress site. If you're using another website platform like Shopify, Squarespace, or Wix, I've included links to my dedicated tutorials in the description below this video. And if you're using a different website platform, I recommend searching their support documentation for recommended steps to install Google Analytics. Okay, now that we've added Google Tag Manager to our website, it's time to configure our first tag. Let's head to Google Tag Manager. We're going to add Google Analytics to our website, so let's create a new tag. Let's name the tag Google Tag GA4 Page View. And let's select Tag Configuration. We're going to start by selecting Google Tag as the tag type. The Google Tag lets us send data to Google Analytics using the measurement ID we copied earlier. You can paste the measurement ID under Tag ID, but we're going to create a variable so that we can reuse the measurement ID across multiple tags. This also means if you ever need to change the measurement ID, you can just update it in one place. So let's click the variable icon under Tag ID. Now let's click the plus sign on the top right corner. Let's name the variable GA4 Measurement ID. Select Variable Configuration. Then choose Constant as the variable type. Now let's paste our measurement ID as the value. And let's click Save. Below our tag configuration, we can see Triggering. Triggers let us control when our tag fires. And we can see the initialization all pages trigger is added by default. This trigger will fire our tag on all of the pages of our website before any other tags, apart from any tags used for consent. For example, if you have a cookie banner on your website, then this should be triggered before the Google tag. So using the initialization all pages trigger will mean we can report all of the pages people are viewing on our website. Okay, now let's save the tag. Since I'm installing Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics for the first time on my website, I can publish the changes straight away. But if you already have Google Analytics installed on your website using another method, again, I recommend watching my dedicated Google Tag Manager tutorial series. Okay, now let's click Submit to publish our changes. We can name our version. And click Publish. We've now installed Google Analytics on our website using Google Tag Manager. You should now see data in the real-time cards and reports straight away. And for the rest of your reports, you should begin to see data after waiting 24 hours. So you'll see metrics like active users and sessions in your reports when you check back the following day. Now that you've set up Google Analytics, it's time to put your knowledge to the test. You'll find a link to my Google Analytics quiz in the description below. If you'd like to keep learning, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I have more tutorials coming that will help you get even more from GA4. In the next video, we'll make sure your data is being collected correctly. We'll also cover the real-time reports and the steps to link Google Analytics to Google Ads and Search Console. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.